Hey, what's up guys, it's Bakes and thank you for joining me for my collection update for winter 2023. Yes, winter is finally coming to an end here in Australia and thank fuck for that. It's been freezing, miserable, wet. It feels like it's gone forever as well, so I'm so happy that we're moving along into spring. Everyone's been saying that they feel like it's been a warmer winter, which maybe over the past couple of weeks, but overall not for me, man. I've fucking hated it. I get up and leave for work at around 6 almost every morning. And I also work outdoors, so yeah, it's just been too fucking cold and wet, and I've been sick plenty of times through this winter. But as I said, I'm happy that we're moving into spring now. But that's enough of talking about the weather. I'm not a fucking weatherman, so let's get into this collection update. As usual, I've got my horror DVDs off to the side here. We'll start with that. I've got a few horror collectibles that I'll go through as well, and then I've got a shit ton of music to also go through. I say this in all of my collection update videos, but if you stick around to the end of my video and watch my music part of my collection update, let me know in the comments below. No one ever lets me know if they stick around for the music part, so I'm just presuming that no one does, I guess. But yeah, as I said, we'll start as usual with the horror DVDs. So yeah, I've got my water here, so let's smash through it. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. We'll start with the collectibles, because this is actually something I picked up. I got my water in it today, but this Pennywise mug on the back here, it's got time to float. I'm not a huge mug person, as in, you know, I'm not really drinking coffee or tea or anything that much. When I'm getting up for work or something, or I'm at work, I will, but otherwise not really. But yeah, this was really cool, had to pick it up. And it also came with, let me show off these two as well, this Pennywise coaster, Time to Float. I keep it in here for whenever I'm drinking in this movie room. And it also came with this keychain, which isn't on anything, I just had to put it somewhere, so it just hangs on the hook with all the other keys. And the last thing for my collectibles, as I said I didn't have many, is this Baby Clown Funko Pop. From Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Now, as you guys know, I'm not constantly going out and picking up Funko Pops, but whenever one catches my eye that I think is really cool, I pick it up, and this one is very unique, very cool, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it's a super fun movie, so I thought, why not pick up this Baby Clown Funko Pop? Alright, so now into the horror DVDs. Sorry about that, I changed up the order on you last second, but let's get into it. So the first movie here is The Black Cat, starring Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi. Yeah, I haven't seen this movie in a little while. I'm really excited to rewatch it. Short movie, only 65 minutes, but I remember this one being pretty good, so excited to give that one a rewatch. Here's one that is very mixed with people. I picked up The Outwaters. Now, this one, when it first came out, I heard a lot of people saying, oh, it's like the next Blair Witch Project. It's one of the best modern found footage movies, and that made me really excited to check this one out. But as soon as I picked it up, that's when I started hearing, you know, the other side of other people's opinions, and people were saying, oh, it's too long and boring, and I'm like, okay, where am I going to fall into it? So I put it on, and yeah, man, the fucking first 2 acts of this movie was a drag. It was like fucking annoying as to get through. I was like almost falling asleep. And then by the time where things actually start happening and it starts getting interesting, it's like, well, was it really fucking worth the wait? And I feel like the payoff wasn't even that incredible. I don't know, this movie was a bit disappointing, not gonna lie. Here's a movie that I loved, The Elephant Man. Obviously not straight up horror, but yeah, some creepy shit in this movie, but I love The Elephant Man. It's genuinely a really good film. Yes, really enjoy that movie. Next up, I picked up Escape Room 2, Tournament of Champions. I know a lot of people didn't really like this one. I know a lot of people liked the first Escape Room, and they felt a little bit let down by this one. I think this one's probably not as good, but it's also pretty watchable. Yeah, I probably enjoyed this one a lot more than other people. I saw it in cinemas. It's still wrapped now, so yet to give it a rewatch. Here's a movie that I had to pick up because I just was dumbfounded in myself that I didn't have it in my collection. and that is Rosemary's Baby. I mean, it's a classic, of course. I'm not going to dwell on it for too long because everybody knows or should know Rosemary's Baby. It's always been one of those movies where, I never have been able to sit through it the whole way through because it's kind of long, and I've always been in those scenarios where I'm like a bit tired and fall asleep during it. But I gave it a rewatch as soon as I picked it up, and yeah, of course, it's a classic, great movie. I also picked up the Slumber Party Massacre remake. I believe this remake was made for the Sci-Fi Channel or something. It actually wasn't too bad, it's a bit low budget and cheesy, but it sort of does this little twist on the slasher genre, and yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah, it was actually pretty entertaining, not gonna lie. Next one I picked up was Fall. Again, not straight up horror, but it's about these two girls that climb this telephone pole or tower or whatever, and it's way up in the sky. I'm not sure. It says 2,000 feet. And the ladder that is on the side of the tower falls off, and now they're trapped up there. And I think this would have been a cooler one to see in cinemas. I didn't watch this one in cinemas, but seeing it on the big screen I think would have been way more impactful. But still, it was pretty dizzying watching that shit. But not a bad movie. Again, one that's maybe not straight up horror, but here I have Robert Eggers' The Northman. I was wary going into this movie. I do like Robert Eggers as a director, but, knowing that it was a period piece, sometimes me and period pieces don't really click. And knowing that it wasn't straight up horror, I was wary, but I actually really enjoyed The Northman. I thought it was really cool. Yeah. It's not going to be for everyone, but I enjoyed that movie. Alright. Next up, one that I have done a recent review for, and that was Spiral from the Book of Saw. So I think this is Saw 9 off the top of my head, if I remember right. Yes, because Saw 10 comes out next month. So yeah. I picked this one up knowing that Saw X was coming out. I know they're not really related, but yeah, I thought why not, sort of refresh myself with the only Saw film that I don't own, so why not? I picked up Patrick, an Ozploitation classic. Yeah, so an Aussie film from what year? Trying to find the year, can't find it. I presume sometime in the 80s, but this movie's great. It's about this patient named Patrick. He's basically in a coma. He's non-responsive, but he can do shit with his mind, and he's fucking with this nurse. Yeah, really cool movie. I actually really like Patrick. Okay, so before I had Roman Polanski with Rosemary's Baby, and I also picked up The Tenant by Roman Polanski. I guess I had a Polanski hit, but The Tenant, I've never liked this movie as much as Rosemary's Baby, but still pretty entertaining, and keeps you on your toes. Cool little mystery going on here. Roman Polanski really likes his apartment horror movies. All his horror movies take place in apartments, I guess. Alright, next up, I had to pick up this classic because I just never owned it. King Kong, the OG from 1933. I'm not gonna lie, none of the King Kong movies I love. This one, Peter Jackson's version. There's a version from the, I want to say 70s or 80s as well. Kong Skull Island. None of the King Kong movies I really love. But I mean, it's a classic story, and this is a classic film, so I had to pick it up. Found it cheap as well, so I thought, why not? Picked up Terrified. Now, this was one that I remember when it came out, there was a lot of hype around it. I can't remember where it's from. I'm trying to find it. It's a Spanish film, it says. Spanish. I didn't love this movie as much as other people, I suppose. I thought it was okay. It just didn't really hit where I thought it was going to. But as I said, a lot of other people really liked it, so it might be your thing. Let me know your thoughts on Terrified. I picked up The Dentist 2. The Dentist. If you've seen this movie, it's cheesy. It's, on paper, not the greatest, but I actually really like this movie. It's really entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of the first Dentist movie, but I find this one to just be a lot more fun, and the cheesiness, I guess, is taken up to another level. Yeah, I like the Dentist too, actually. Um, a film from this year. I didn't know it was from this year, actually, so I guess it was a good one to subconsciously pick up and check out, but it was Marlem. I believe this is a remake of The Last Shift, which I've actually never seen The Last Shift, so I guess I'll have to get around to watching that. But I thought this movie was okay. I enjoyed the first half more than the second half. I thought, especially towards the end, it just lost a lot of its pace, but by all means, it was still a pretty solid watch, so not bad. Um, got Lucio Fulci's The New York Ripper. Yeah, probably not Fulci's best in my opinion. I'm not sure if this is anyone's favourite Fulci movie. Let me know in the comments if it is. But by all means, it's not terrible. I feel like this movie is just very middle of the road. I think it divides a lot of people with the fact, if you're unfamiliar with the movie, the killer quacks like a duck, and when he speaks to people, he speaks like Donald Duck from Disney. And it's like got this weird voice, and I think that's what makes this movie so divided with people. But I actually don't mind that the killer quacks and speaks like a duck. Like, it's not my favorite, but I don't hate it either. It's just very middle of the road movie for me. Yeah, as I said, not Fulci's best, but by far, not unwatchable. This was one that I just recently watched. I've never seen this movie before. It's a Spanish film, and it's called Sleep Tight. I believe it's by the director of Wreck. Yep, says right there down the bottom. Beautiful. Yeah, so this was more of a psychological thriller. It's about this guy who, works in this apartment building, and he has keys to get into people's rooms, and yeah, I'm sure you sort of get the gist of it just by that little description. This movie wasn't bad. Yeah, pretty watchable. It was alright. Alright, let's keep going. Another one that was really divided with people, and it was Skinamarink. Yeah, you'll either hear some people say that this was the scariest thing that they've ever fucking seen in their life, or on the other side of the fence, you'll hear people say it was the most boring movie that they've ever fucking seen. I'm trying to think. This movie was alright. Like, this new wave of, like, analog horror coming through. I'm not sure if it's really my thing. I respect this movie, and I do get it. I understand why people, showed interest in this movie, but I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit boring. Just wasn't really for me, but by all means, I don't hate it. It was interesting for sure. Another one that I've recently done a review for, The Meg. I've seen this movie fucking more times than I can count on one hand. Not just because, like, the movie's actually pretty fun. It's just one of those movies where, when you just can't escape a film, you turn on the TV and it's on, or you go to someone's house and it's on. It's just been one of those movies for me. But I reviewed this for Shark Week, so if you want to know my full thoughts of The Meg, yeah, go check out that review. I also recently checked out The Meg 2. The first half of that movie was so fucking boring, but then the second half was fun, so yeah, it was a weird watch. Here's one again, not straight up horror at all, but I heard a lot of people in, horror pages and this one particular page and podcast that I listened to, the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror, they were talking about this, I think a couple of years ago. The film's called Spontaneous, and it's basically about a bunch of high schoolers in this school just start randomly exploding, and it's more of like a teen comedy, dark comedy drama sort of thing, but they were all praising it, but I'm not gonna lie, this movie, I was worried about it being cringe, and do you know what? It was pretty cringe, so yeah, I wasn't a fan of Spontaneous. Sorry, the home phone's ringing in the background, hopefully it's not too loud, we'll see. Another movie that I picked up was The Tingler. I've had a few throwback films here in this haul. This is a film from 1959. It's got obviously Vincent Price. Vincent Price is the man. I love movies with Vincent Price in them just because I love watching him act. This movie I thought was okay. I'd never seen it before. It's basically about like people. What is it? People are like getting literally scared to death, and it's because they have this parasite in them, and they call it the Tingler. I feel like this whole movie's gimmick is because in the last act, they say, "Oh, the Tingler's loose in the cinema," and it's I don't know. I'm rambling. I'm talking out my fucking ass here. All right. Next movie is one that I actually really enjoyed. Random Acts of Violence. Yeah, this movie was cool. I love getting a modern standalone slasher. We rarely get modern standalone slashers. They're all sequels. Like, name another recent slasher that's come out, like Saw 6, Scream 6. Everything's part of a franchise. Cool to get a nice standalone one. I thought most of this movie was pretty good. The last act is sort of where I felt like I dropped the ball, but still a pretty entertaining watch. Alright, next up. In the Earth. I thought this one was pretty cool, like eco-horror. These people going off into the forest. There's like this pandemic going on, in the cities and whatever, and they're trying to figure out what's happening, and they meet this crazy guy in the woods. Yeah, this movie was actually pretty interesting, and I didn't mind it. It has a cool little twist towards the end. Yeah, if you haven't seen In the Earth, I would recommend it. Pretty cool watch. Alright, we got a interesting last stretch of movies here. So, first of all, I picked up Halloween 2. And now you might be wondering, how did you have all these horror movies behind you and not own Halloween 2? Actually, I already owned this movie, but I had it as part of this double set with Halloween 3. So I was like, I want to get an individual copy of this movie. So I picked up Halloween 2. And I've also recently done a review of Halloween 2, so if you want to know my thoughts of it, check out that. It wasn't only Halloween 2 that I picked up again. I also picked up Halloween 4, and yes, I already owned a copy of Halloween 4. However, this is Region 1. Here in Australia, you need to have Region 4. So I brought this umbrella release of it. So again, duplicating on movies, and I've done a review of Halloween 4 if you want to know my thoughts on it. I also picked up Halloween 5. Now this was the only Halloween movie that I didn't own, so I needed to pick up Halloween 5. It probably is the worst movie in the entire franchise, but needed it to complete the Halloween collection. Speaking of Halloween collection, I picked up the Halloween collection. In this it has Halloween Part 6, Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween H2O, and Halloween Resurrection. I feel like Part 6 gets too much hate. By all means, it's not a great movie, but it's actually kind of entertaining. I think Halloween H2O is genuinely a pretty good movie. The weakest part about it is the CGI mask that they had to use at times. And then Halloween Resurrection is genuinely terrible. Who told... what's his fucking name? Who told Busta Rhymes he could fucking finish the movie by hand-to-hand fighting Michael Myers and killing him? Who the fuck allowed that to happen? But, yeah, pick this one up as well. Out of the movies now and getting into a TV series I picked up. I don't often pick up TV series, but this one always intrigues me because it is one of, if not my favourite horror franchise. So I had to pick up Chucky Season 1. I know Season 3 is actually coming out, so I guess I was a little bit behind the ball with watching this series, but it actually wasn't too bad. I kind of enjoyed it. I'm hoping to pick up Season 2, whenever I just get the time and remember to do it, but yeah, I enjoyed Season 1. I don't think I liked it as much as everyone else did, because I remember everyone was fucking riding this show's cock when it first came out, and by all means, it's entertaining and good. They did a lot of things right, especially with the storyline going on in this version of, the Chucky franchise, so I thought this was okay. What else do I have here? Okay. These last three aren't horror at all. Here in Australia, they're gonna eventually stop releasing Disney on physical media. So I was like, I need to pick these up because I'm a big fan of the MCU, and there's still a few movies I'm behind on. So I picked up Black Widow, which I had seen in cinemas. I feel like this movie gets way too much hate. Black Widow, I think, is actually still pretty fun. It's a bit of a pointless movie because we know what happened to Black Widow in Avengers Endgame, so the movie doesn't really have that much stakes to it, but by all means, I still think it's pretty fun. I picked up Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I hadn't seen this one before. I was gonna go watch it in cinemas, but then I heard everyone saying it was shit, and at the time I had Disney Plus, so I'm like, okay, I'll just watch it on Disney Plus. Don't have it anymore, so I had to pick it up. I feel like this movie gets too much hate. Again, it's not a great movie. It definitely is in like the weakest, probably 5 films in the MCU. But everyone was making it sound like it was a flaming piece of dog shit. It's not that bad. As I said, again, not great, but wasn't terrible. And then one I did see in cinemas, Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. Yeah, I do like this movie. Genuinely pretty good. Alright, there we go for the movies. We're running at 21 minutes. Not too bad. So let's get into the music now. Let me just fucking wet my whistle. Wet my whistle, fucking hell. That's the widest shit I've ever said on my channel. Alright, let me grab these albums. Alright, so as usual, when I do my albums, I'll start off with the albums that came out this year first of all. And again, guys, let me know in the comments if you stick around for this part of the video, because I need to know if I'm doing this for no reason. And even if no one's watching, I'm going to keep doing it in my collection updates, fuck it. But the first one that we have here, again, the first 5 from this year. So we have But Here We Are by the Foo Fighters. Super emotional album, obviously, the passing of Taylor Hawkins, the drummer. A lot of the songs, you know, got a lot more deeper meaning to them and everything. But all that aside, I've never loved a Foo Fighters album. I'm even not the hugest fan of the Foo Fighters. I'm actually going to go see them in December when they come on tour, but I've never loved a Foo Fighters album. But overall, this one was pretty solid. Yeah, did actually really enjoy this album, so I guess that's a good start. Next one here, I picked up Till the Wheels Fall Off by the band Waster. Now, Waster are one of the best pop-punk bands doing fucking music at the moment. They're keeping the fucking genre alive and blood-pumping, you know. Obviously, they're not the only ones, but if you love, like, true skate fucking pop-punk vibes, this album's gonna be right up your alley. They originally didn't release a CD for this album. It was all vinyl. I don't collect vinyl. And I remember when they announced the vinyl coming out, I put on their Instagram post, you know, are we getting a CD? And I think a lot of other people did as well. So they eventually caved in by peer pressure. Fuck yes, peer pressure. That's what you got to do, guys. And they released this album, so had to pick it up. As I said, keeping the pop-punk genre alive, really. Another album I picked up by Australian band, one of my favourite bands making music ever. They're just so fucking awesome. I picked up Suicide and Sunshine by the band Trophy Eyes. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is probably my least favourite Trophy Eyes album of the 3 I own. I don't own their first album, Mend and Move On, but I have Chemical Miracle, The American Dream, and now Suicide and Sunshine. I feel like this is the weakest of the 3 that I have. But, man, there are still some fucking killer tracks on here. Blue Eyed Boy, What Hurts the Most, what's it called? Kill is another great song. Yeah, there's lots of good songs on here, but a little bit let down by that album, I'm not going to lie. An album that's a little bit out of the main genres that I listen to, but if you watch my music content here on my channel, you guys know I don't try and pigeonhole myself in certain genres, else you're going to miss out on some stuff you really enjoyed. But I picked up Sunburn by Dominic Fike. First of all, how fucking cool is that album cover? I love it. I'm fucking in love with it. And the back as well. But yeah, this album, I really dug it. You know, cool summer vibes. You know, when it starts to get warmer, as I said, here in Australia, and, you know, it's cooler to kick back outside and, you know, enjoy the sun, this album is going to be on replay. Really cool listen. And again, maybe not a go-to genre of music that I listen to, but last one from albums released this year, Austin by Post Malone. I know a lot of people really dug this album. This could be, in my opinion, Post Malone's weakest album out of the 5 he's done so far. I think his best album is Hollywood's Bleeding, which was his third. And again, this album has its moments, but overall, I didn't love it, but liked it enough to pick it up. I've always said that before. With my movies, I pick up everything that's horror. Even if I've seen it before and I know it's shit, I just need to have it. With my music, I'm a lot more picky. So, if I say an album's bad, but I own it, you know, I still like it somewhat. So, whatever. Again, I'm just fucking rambling. But, and the rest of the albums here, albums not from this year, but, you know, I've picked them up. And the first one is probably gonna really confuse these guys, but ABBA. This is their gold album, one of their greatest hits albums. Yeah, don't fucking hate on ABBA, and don't hate on me for liking ABBA. ABBA have some fucking hits. They have some bangers. Dancing Queen, Knowing Me, Knowing You. Fuck, there's some good songs on here. Waterloo. ABBA are cool, man. Don't fucking hate on them. This was a fucking cool find. I've been looking for this album for ages, and it was expensive. I don't know why. Probably just because it is so hard to find. But The Battle at Garden's Gate by the band Greta Van Fleet. I'm not the biggest fan of Greta Van Fleet, but this is my favourite album by them. It's probably the only album that I'm going to pick up by them unless they release a really good album, you know, sometime down the track. They did release an album this year, but I wasn't a big fan of it. But Heat Above, what a fucking cool song. Leave that there. I picked up Stand Atlantic's first album, Skinny Dipping. I'm a big fan, of Stand Atlantic. I'm actually going to go see them in like a week from recording this video. I don't know when this video is going to come out, but at the time of recording, I'm going to go see them live in like a week. Yeah, so now I own all 3 Stand Atlantic albums. This was the album that was just eluding me for a long time. This is where their sound was like a lot more traditionally, like sort of clean, safe, but not. Don't take that as a critique. You know, they've gone a lot more electronic and fast-paced with their newer music, but this one was pretty cool. This album has just grown on me more and more every time I listen to it. This is the second album by the band Teenage Wrist, and it's called Earth is a Black Hole. If you like grunge, grimy, punk, pop punk sort of stuff, this is going to be up your alley. This album is fucking awesome. As I said, every time I listen to it, it grows on me more and more. Again, this is a band that released an album this year, and that album's pretty good as well. I'm trying to pick it up, but it's hard to find a copy of it. Picked up this album by Boston Manor called Glue. Boston Manor is a band where I've gone back and picked up a lot of their past catalogue, and this is one of them. I really like the song Liquid. It has John Florini from the band Trophy Eyes, which I just had before. Had to pick up my favourite Rise Against album, Appeal to Reason. This is an older album from 2008, if I remember right. I often also talk about albums that I grew up listening to, have always been in my house, but never owned in my own collection. And in my dad's collection, he has like all of the Rise Against albums. This is my favourite one, just never owned it in my collection, so I had to pick it up. This album's fucking awesome. Great album. Talking about great albums, one of the best mashup collaboration albums that I've ever heard. Collision Course by Jay-Z and Linkin Park. Only 6 songs, but man, it just fucking packs a punch within those 6 songs. It's got Dirt Off Your Shoulder / Lying From You, Big Pimpin' / Paper Cuts, Gigawatt / Faint, Numb / Encore, Izzo / In the End, and Points of Authority / 99 Problems / One Step Closer. Fucking hell, just banger after banger. I don't think there'll ever be a mashup album or what's it called, like, crossover album like this ever again. Like, for two reasons. One, no one will ever just hit the mark, and two, if two artists sat down and tried to collaborate, they would just be so fucking scared of not hitting, the benchmark set by this one. So, yeah, great crossover album. Again, going back a little bit old school and picking up some earlier discography that I didn't own, but Paramore's self-titled album. Not their best, but I know a lot of people really like this album, and as do I. Has some really good songs on here. Now, Grow Up, Daydreaming, Ain't It Fun, Still Into You. I really like Ankle Biters. I think it's a cool, fun song. Yeah, good tracks on here. Paramore self-titled. Another album that's just eluded me for a long time, and so happy I could get my hands on it. One of my favourite albums from the year it came out. I believe it came out in like it says 2019, yeah. So it would definitely be up in my favourites of that year. Fandom by the band Water Parks. Sorry, that is not fucking showing right, but I love this album. I know Water Parks, again, very divided with people, more because of their personalities as individuals, but all out of fucking side, love their music, especially their earlier stuff. Their two latest albums, again, I haven't been the biggest fan of, but from Double Dare to Fandom, yeah, pretty enjoyable work. As I said before, going back and picking up a lot of Boston Manor's earlier discography. This one isn't too far back, because this album only came out last year, and it's called, I believe it's called Datura. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Only 7 songs, so like Collision Course, sort of short, but man, it packs a punch. There are so many fucking good songs on here. Obviously, most people would know this album for Foxglove, but I reckon Passenger is the best song on this album. Yeah, just really cool album, Boston Manor. And 2 more albums to go. We've had a few throwbacks with the movies and musics now, because Pearl Jam's album 10. Like Rise Against, been one in the house that I've grown up listening to. I think my dad owns it in his collection. Wanted to own it in mine as well. So 10 by Pearl Jam. And last one here, again, sort of flipping genres. Billie Eilish and her album When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? This is the only Billie Eilish album that honestly interests me. And I don't love it, but it's pretty enjoyable. More of a unique sound in pop, and when you listen to pop music on the radio, a lot of it just sort of sounds the same, and that's why I find it hard to put on the radio and listen to some of those popular stations and whatever. But with this album, she gave pop music a unique and interesting sound that was different from things that we were hearing at the time. So cool album. Alright, there we go, through my collection update for winter 2023. These videos always take a little bit out of me, because they fucking go forever. What are we at? 33 minutes. Fuck. Well, as you guys saw, I did a lot of talking, rambling about movies and albums, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on any of the movies or music, or if you stuck around for the music. But thank you for joining me again, guys, and I'll see you for another video soon. Peace.